My spidey senses are tingling. I sense a special episode of the Brief Nerdy podcast, one that is specifically dedicated to Spider-Man Homecoming. So thank you for joining. My name is Ryan. Joining me once again, Trent.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Good.
And joining us also is TJ.
I just swung in with my webs.
I saw that. That was neat.
Wow.
I just saw that.
That just happened.
Oh, shooting y'all in the face.
Is that what web face sounds like? I'm not sure.
Activating instant kill mode.
The evil red eyes.
Hello.
But yes, we will be talking all things Spider-Man Homecoming, including spoilers. So if you're not interested in hearing about spoilerish stuff for Spider-Man Homecoming, leave now and never come back. Or just come back after you see the movie. That'd be fine too. So
yeah, or come back Monday again for the next episode.
Nah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Don't tell our 3 listeners to never come back, please.
I was trying to do a Gollum impression without the voice, but it doesn't work, I guess.
Never come back. I can't. I just sound like Peter from Family Guy.
And never come back.
Never come back, you hear?
That's a more Bugs Bunny than Peter there, TJ.
You know what? Oh, you messed with him, not me. Go for it.
All right, so starting from spoilers now. So let's get to our...
Spoiler warning.
Yep.
Warning.
Let's just go and kick off with our favorite parts. It could be a funny part, a story part. It could be the dreamy Tony Stark, whatever you want it to be. But let's start with TJ. What was your favorite moment / part of the movie?
Oh, wow. I really, really enjoyed Donald Glover's character, which I feel like I know Spider-Man lore like fairly well, but I guess I don't know a lot of the more recent stuff. I know of Miles Morales, but I don't really know the whole story behind him. But I was very happy to find out that Donald Glover was playing Miles Morales' uncle, who plays a big role in the comics, and I guess steals like Spider-Man suit, and Miles Morales gets it. And Donald Glover has that line where he's like, we gotta like keep this under control or whatever because my nephew lives here, and he's referring to Miles. So
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I did not either, and I still love that scene. And then when I found out that afterwards, I was like, man, I love this even more. But he had one of my favorite lines when Peter webs him to the car, and then he goes, okay, well, that's going to wear off in 2 hours. He's like, 2 hours? No, like, you got to get me out of here now. And he's like, no, 2 hours. He's like, but I have ice cream in here.
Yeah.
And it was funny because earlier that day, I had to run a few errands, and the last place I stopped was the grocery store, and I got some ice cream, and I thought, well, this just determined the rest of my outing. Like, I can't go anywhere else. I have to go home because I have ice cream in the car. So, I don't know. That just hit home.
It was a good part. I like that part.
Yeah, I love that Peter was like, no criminal, no criminal, no. It's your fault, you're a criminal. Yeah, I thought it makes a lot more sense now because I was wondering, I was like, why is Donald Glover playing this like rather insignificant part? I mean, he did a really good job, but it was so small. So
so I would think like with Peter being so young, Peter being 15, like Miles, what would you say, Ryan? You seem like you know him the best out of all of us. Like maybe like 6 or 7.
Yep, 6 or 7 age range if they're kind of sticking to the same difference in the comics.
So that's cool. Like I would love to see them do something, later on down the line with Miles. But even if they don't have anything planned right now, but they're just setting themselves up just in case later on down the road, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt just to try,
Yeah.
To plant those seeds, and 10 years down the line, 12 years down the line, they want to just do a Miles Morales storyline once Tom Holland's contract is up and he's demanding $40 million a movie. Who knows?
And if I'm not mistaken, when they announced that they were going to like redo Spider-Man again, wasn't there a big campaign for Donald Glover to play Miles Morales as Spider-Man?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool how it all kind of wrapped up.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Good stuff. All right, Trent, how about you?
Sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but my Alexa tried talking to me.
Look at you with your Alexa.
They're half off.
I want to talk about Spider-Man
on Prime Day. No, so I think I've got two, and like one is kind of just like a stylistic decision that I thought was really cool. Like it's something that I've always thought about. And when he comes like it's the right after the party scene, and he's like trying to go over and find out what the explosion was, and he like runs out and he like shoots the web, and there's nothing to hit because he's in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And the web just goes off, and I was like, that's awesome because that's totally what would happen.
Just starts running through his bunkers. Man, this sucks.
It was like I've always wondered. It's like they never show that in a Spider-Man movie or like any of the things I've ever remembered seeing, and so I just thought that was really, really like clever.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was well done.
that's something that even the Spider-Man video games ignore. Like you could be in a completely open area and still be swinging around.
Oh yeah, I mean because it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very good part though.
Yeah, it's fun. So and then my heroic like favorite moment I think was when like it really showcased like his intelligence and his quick thinking, even though it ended up kind of failing, is when he's reacting to the boat coming apart and he starts like swinging around and like attaching webs to all of the like strength, like all the structure points on the boat to try to bring it back together.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like switching between web types and like jumping and flipping around and like just it brought together like the suit's capabilities and his intelligence and like his like physical prowess and all this stuff. And I even liked it even more that he failed because that was one of his first like real attempts at like big heroics. And it was just such a cool moment, like watching him swing around, and the cinematography was really well done. And I was just like, man, it was awesome, even though it didn't work. So I think that was one of my favorite parts.
Definitely a callback to Spider-Man 2's train scene.
Yes.
In my opinion. But
yeah,
very well done as well. For me, I'm not really going to go with comedic or even heroic moment, but it was a moment that I didn't see coming, and it probably gave the biggest emotional reaction out of me, and not really emotional the way you think, but when he's kind of not really putting Spider-Man away, but definitely making his personal life his priority. He asked Liz to the dance, and it's that happy montage of him, having fun, and then getting dressed up, and then everything is happy, and then he drives up to the house, opens the door, and bam, like Michael Keaton opens the door. You're just like, oh shoot.
Yeah, like it was laid out the whole time, and yet it was still like a really clever twist that slaps you in the face.
Yeah,
because his worlds had been so separate at that point, up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, and I mean, like that twist has been done in other movies, but I still didn't see it coming, and it was still very effective. Like I completely agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between that scene in the car and the scene with Green Goblin at the Thanksgiving dinner in the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
very much so. But even so, it just that impact of him opening the door, and you go from just a very high mood set to just ultimate sinking feeling in your stomach pretty much immediately.
It's so funny because when that happened, even when he opened the door, I didn't even put those pieces together. I thought, oh, he intercepted Peter. He knows Peter's secret, and he went to this person's house. It's like, oh wait, no, that's his house. He's the dad.
Oh man! And then like there were people in the theater where I was that like gasped, and this one guy a few rows back went, "Oh shit!"
Yep, that's pretty much the expected reaction at that point.
It was fantastic. Yeah, just really great writing because it was such a good twist that I mean the groundwork was all there, but it didn't like slap you in the face with it. Like it was just, bam.
Yeah, very good moment.
Yes.
I do want to give a shout out to Ned though, because he is the true hero when he's like, I was looking at porn. He's the hero that New York City deserves.
Oh man, that was so good. What are you doing?
Falling on his sword.
I'm looking at porn.
What did he call himself? The guy in the chair?
The guy in the chair.
Yeah.
You can be my guy in the chair. Don't do that.
Yeah, Ned really was a great character. I mean, and that's another thing too. I think everyone played their parts very well. I thought Michael Keaton played a very good villain, a very down-to-earth villain, a villain that you can kind of relate to and you understood because he wasn't looking for like world domination or anything. yeah, he just wanted to help his family, and he felt like the big guys like Tony Stark were, taking advantage of the little guys, as he would say, and he was one of the little guys. And yeah, I just thought that was really cool. It was good to see a villain like this in a Marvel movie finally.
It was interesting to see him start off as a little guy, but then toward the end of the movie, you see that he's no longer a little guy. He had that huge, nice house and was basically the ringleader in a criminal underworld, so to speak, of weapon sales and alien technology.
Yeah, I thought
But even then, he still wasn't. He became successful, but he wasn't some like big name in like the media and stuff. Like it's not like he was a celebrity or anything like that. He was just a wealthy family guy.
Yeah, and he wasn't like a mustache twirling, like sit in a dark room building a suit, staring at the TV screen of Tony Stark. Or
everyone's favorite Iron Man 2 villain.
Yeah, he didn't keep asking for his bird. I want my bird.
Want my bird.
Bird.
Yeah, I thought he's actually. I don't think he's better than Loki, but I think he's definitely up there among the best of the Marvel villains up to this point.
Between him and Ego this year, Marvel's kind of on the right track.
Yeah,
yes,
they're finally taking their villain criticisms into account. Because what's her name? Hela, I think, for Thor.
Yeah, I love her from the comics. So
she looks great too.
I'm so excited for her.
She looks incredible so far, so I'm thrilled for that one. So yeah, Marvel's stepping up their game finally with the villains, and I couldn't be happier.
That's a really good point, Trent. This could be like the year of the villains for Marvel movies.
Yes.
Because the year of the villains already happened when like Megamind and Despicable Me all came out. That was a true year of the villains.
Well, I mean, you can't be
Megamind.
Orlo. Oh, I love that movie. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. What do you guys think of the random Mary Jane thing at the end?
I thought it was a neat little twist. They've since clarified it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know about it, TJ?
Yeah, they said she is not Mary Jane.
Yeah.
They did that as kind of just like a little like moment for the audience to kind of react and stuff. But yeah, she is not officially Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah, she is still Michelle, still an original character, not Mary Jane Watson, just more of an Easter egg. And she might become the MJ of this universe to where, he decide, him and her begin a relationship and she starts going by MJ, but it doesn't mean that she is Mary Jane Watson.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder if that was done in regard, because there was a bit of blowback on the internet where, of course, the people are mad that she's not white or whatever, and like not a redhead. Do you think that was done in response to that, or do you think that was their plan all along?
And not to be like, nope, but they did clarify that as well. In that, she was always meant to be original character, and then like because her name was Michelle, they're like, oh, we should make an Easter egg in there with like, oh, MJ, and then it leaked that she was playing MJ. And so they're like, "Oh shit!" So,
I
think
I don't know. I thought it was kind of a random moment in the movie because everyone like around me was like, "So wait, was that Mary Jane?" Like then that's what everybody thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think this was played a lot better than the Robin line in The Dark Knight Rises.
That's what people compare it to.
It's like, it's like, oh, you should use your real name, Robin, and I'm like, Robin, like. Why couldn't they just say like Dick or something? Like I don't know why they had to go with Robin.
Yeah, that was
Oh, the famous Robin Grayson.
This one is a little bit better. It's like, oh, my alter ego is my first name, Batman and Trent. Like Batman.
Or even if they said like Richard, like I don't know, I don't know. I just I'm like Nolan, you're better than that. Like you don't need to sink that low to where even like people that know nothing about the Batman universe, can hear that and go, oh.
Dark Knight Rises was overall not super great. It doesn't really surprise me that something like that would happen at the end of it.
What do you mean, Ryan? It's the best movie ever.
Yeah. So even though this was a Sony Pictures movie that was kind of artistically guided by Marvel Studios, I really love how connected it was going to be to it was to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like,
oh man, yeah.
a small worry of mine was that, like, to be like, oh yeah, Tony Stark is here and he's there, you know, but like, no, it is heavily weaved into the current cinematic universe in a lot of ways, and so I actually really like that. I mean, there's the little things like the Captain America PSAs, to the teacher discussing the Sokovia Accords, to the picking up the rubble of the Battle of New York.
So it's assumed then that Peter's been registered, right? Is that?
That's a big part of the Civil War in the comics, but I don't know.
Do you have to register as a minor? Have they even talked about that yet?
Not in the movies, no. Peter's not a minor in Civil War in the comics, and Peter coming out and being all the way on Iron Man's side and being like one of the first superheroes ever to unmask himself and say, "I'm Peter Parker," is in the comic was a big deal during the Civil War comic then. But at that time, Peter's in his mid-20s or older. But yeah, they haven't mentioned anything about whether or not he is registered or not. I'd imagine that he's not. It seemed in like the video we watched at the very beginning of the movie that it was still kind of like on the down low. It was just, you know, Happy taking him and then giving him the suit and then him fighting and then taking him back home. You know, it seemed very off the books.
Yeah. It's interesting.
One of the things I kind of loved about all of that, and I mean really just the movie as a whole, was how New York like was familiar with Spider-Man, but no one really cared that much. I mean, because at this point they've seen Thor and, you know, the Incredible Hulk and all these like crazy heroes. So then like this like Spider-Man shows up and everyone's just like, oh, okay, well, that's cool, I guess.
Do a flip.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite lines too.
Hey, Spider Guy. Do a flip.
He does it.
Yeah.
He doesn't even question it.
Like, all right.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Just having him as a kid, I feel like is one thing that the Marvel Cinematic Universe really needed at this point. Like a character that's just so different from everyone else. And, you know, what better than to have a kid, you know, mixed in with all these other like adults that have all these incredible powers and stuff.
Yeah. And I would love to see the next movie with him still in high school. Like, that wouldn't bother me at all.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want him to grow up too fast.
One of the most powerful scenes of the movie was him under that rubble, and that's probably where you see him as a kid the most, because he's just crying and screaming for help.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just full of desperation, and, you know, had to find the will and strength all on his own, with no one to help him. It's a powerful scene.
Yeah, props for pointing that out, because I feel like that scene, it is a great and powerful scene, but it gets lost kind of in the shuffle of, you know, everyone's memories of all like the funny one-liners and stuff like that. But no, that probably was one of the better scenes in the movie.
It's actually taken from a comic moment, almost.
Oh, really?
Panel by panel. Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Cool. Yeah, it was similar to the moment when he realizes that his webs are failing on the boat, and he just tries to like go out there and, like, you know, Captain America it back together. And it felt sometimes those kind of scenes where like people are like, you know, yelling out or, you know, crying in pain or whatever are not terribly realistic, but he did a really good job in both of those scenes. I was really impressed.
Yeah, and then it's cool because, you know, at that moment, like, he doesn't have, you know, Tony Stark's suit. He is out there in the middle of nowhere all by himself, so you know no one's going to, like, swoop in and save him at that point. Like, he has to do that on his own.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked was that in the comics, Peter always has, terrible luck, and like because of his life as Spider-Man, you know, life screws him over. The Sam Raimi movies do a little bit better job than the Amazing Spider-Man movies, kind of showing that, you know, but in the end, you know, he still has a good career and he still gets Mary Jane over and over again. The only time the bad Parker luck shows up in Amazing Spider-Man is when Gwen dies at the end of 2, but the rest of the time he's like fine and dandy pretty much the entire time, which is another reason why I like those movies. But I like that, you know, his life as Spider-Man in this movie had real consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this time around, you know, he had to miss his homecoming, he had to miss that party, and then the final one at the very end, when Liz was just like, whatever, and just kind of left. The crush of his life at that point, and one he finally like had an in with. It was obvious that she liked him too, and had a date with her. He had to destroy that relationship in order to do what needed to be done as Spider-Man. And I'm pretty sure she's gone. So
Um,
it seems like it.
Mary Jane always like came back in the next one. Sam Raimi movies. So that's
kind of why I'm glad they didn't go with Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy, and just created two new, original female characters. As far as I know, she's original anyway. I don't know if Vulture had a daughter in the comics or not, but it was cool. And those decision moments were pretty heart-wrenching.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Vulture, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Vulture in the comics, isn't he aging and then he like takes the youth out of people? Or am I wrong about that? Like, what's the Vulture's deal exactly?
I don't remember the original Vulture's deal. I've only read stuff with like him kind of reimagined, so to speak.
Because a lot of my Spider-Man knowledge comes from the animated series. And I remember like the Vulture being an old man, and then he would like get younger. He would like steal people's youth. So I was kind of
that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe my memory is wrong, but I guess going into it, that's what I was expecting. I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna really play this up that Spider-Man is a kid, and the first villain they have is someone who might be older and wants his youth back or something. So I really thought they were gonna go that route, but they didn't. It was more of a grounded take, and it ended up being really good.
Yeah, the Wikipedia article that I'm looking here, it still just focuses on his harness, which it's more like feathery in the comic and the cartoon. But it uses like electromagnetic anti-graviton generators to allow him to fly.
Yeah, maybe I got that wrong then.
Yeah, same thing on the Marvel Wiki. It just says the Vulture can levitate or float his body.
Huh. But yeah, he says that he's intellectually brilliant in the fields of electronics and mechanical engineering. I thought it was interesting that this guy, I mean, he was really like smart in terms of, and then they show it off a little bit here and there with like, when it comes to like salvage, and stuff. He's like, oh no, you got to use their tools, and he kind of like shows his guy how to do it, and then hands him the tool back. But it looks like a lot of it was all coming from this random, like Q person that was in his group that was apparently like a tech genius. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and he seemed pretty knowledgeable himself. Maybe not as like his Q guy, but I think it would take someone who's a little bit knowledgeable in tech to be able to maneuver and pilot this the way it was.
Yeah. Well, I love that.
Well, wasn't that guy like? Isn't that the Tinkerer?
Isn't
that another Spider-Man villain?
I think
they never say it in the movie, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Tinkerer.
Huh. That could be it. I don't know. And then they didn't really say, I don't think. But I thought it was really funny, that guy at the beginning who had the glove thing. He's like, I'm the Shocker. And I'm like, really? Are they doing that? And then he dies. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess you're not the Shocker anymore.
Yeah. I freaking love the fact that Shocker was in the movie, and he had his yellow arm or sleeves. His yellow like banded sleeves and everything.
Yeah.
Even the second Shocker when he showed up.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, Shocker. And they also had Scorpion in there too.
Yep.
I didn't notice him.
He's our boy Nacho.
Yeah, from Nacho from Breaking Bad. But yeah, so the bonus scene at the end, in prison, yeah, that's the Scorpion.
Oh, okay, I got you.
He was on the scene of the boat and then got knocked into the water and then shows up in the prison.
That's an interesting scene that my friends and I debated for a little bit while we were waiting for the second end credit scene for no good. What did you guys think of his decision not to out Peter's identity?
It's a very interesting decision. I could see it being one of two things. Either A, he gives a little bit of respect for Peter for attempting to save him and then successfully saving him, or he wants to keep it to himself so when he gets out he could go and kill Spider-Man himself.
Yeah, I wonder if the rest of it is also, or if there's any part about like the fact that he's a good dad too, and he doesn't want his daughter to like have her her ex, even though that they're not together or whatever, being like murdered by thugs or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm sure that's part of it. I'm sure he has a lot of different thoughts going around in his head. But yeah, or does he have just some big plan that he wants to put together, when he gets out or something? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that in the car too, especially when he's like, I'm gonna let you go because I respect you or you saved my life or something like that.
It was for saving his daughter at the
Oh, that's right.
monument.
You saved my daughter's life. Yeah, that was cool. He was.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
he's
really
just a
quick.
very. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I
Nope,
was gonna say
go on.
he's very good, like complicated, and very like you were saying earlier, very easy to uh, understand and connect with villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna say I had to look it up to save myself from sounding like an idiot. But yes, I don't know if this was just limited to the animated series, but one of the whole plots in the animated series was Norman Osborn. I'm reading this on the Marvel Wikia. I don't know. At a meeting, Norman Osborn tries to convince other board members to allow him to buy Toomes Aerodynamics and merge it with Oscorp because Adrian Toomes' ideas of age reversal and gravity defiance are ridiculous. And then there's a part in the episode where Adrian Toomes attacks and drains the youth of a child, which effectively restores his own youth.
You
yes,
just added that to the wiki entry, didn't you?
I did. I had to type it up really quick. Yeah. But no, I had memories of him like being an old man and then getting younger. So yeah, that's why I thought they were gonna play it up like that in the movie, but they did not. So I'm not crazy. Well, I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy when it comes to that.
But you're not a liar crazy. No,
I would never lie.
Well, TJ, one thing I wanted to ask you is that what did you think of Guilfoyle as a high school teacher?
I was really wondering because I heard he was in the movie a while back, but like none of the trailers showed him or anything. So I'm like, what part is he going to play? I was like, he's probably going to end up playing one of Peter's teachers, and sure enough, he did. I thought he was good. I felt like they held him back a little bit. I think he could have had a little more fun with the role. I don't know if maybe he did and they just cut it, but I mean, he wasn't bad or anything. It was just he was just kind of there.
Which teacher was this? Was this the one in detention, or was this?
This was the science teacher, the one that was trapped on the elevator.
Oh, okay.
He plays a character in Silicon Valley, one that's completely different and the opposite of what this teacher was. So I was just weirded out the whole time. I was like, he's smiling. Why is he smiling?
I liked his interview about the accident. He's like, no one died, and that's what's important. No one died.
Yep.
Or not.
Have
not
either of you
or something like that? I was like, holy crap.
Have either of you seen the show Freaks and Geeks?
No.
I've seen an episode, but not too familiar with it.
Okay, well, it's from like the late '90s, I believe. But he was a kid actor. Like Seth Rogen was on that show, James Franco, like a ton of like big name actors now. But the character he played on that show as a kid, this was almost like his character on that show, but as an adult.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if that was intentional or what, but yeah, because when you said like him smiling and stuff, he smiled all the time in that show, and then in Silicon Valley, like you never see him smile.
I mean, when he wore those cat eye contacts in the finale.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this. Do you think this was a good starting point? Like, I think I can safely say that none of us wanted to see the origin story again. So I think it's fine that they skipped that. But do you think this was a good starting point? Like throwing him into Civil War, getting a brief introduction there, and then starting right after Civil War?
I want to give a big hell yes to that.
Yes.
Because if I have to see Martha Wayne's pearls hit the ground again, I might kill somebody.
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so don't be next to me in that theater.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in the next Batman movie, just as a flashback again.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I guess like I would say, it doesn't need it, but I wouldn't have been angry if there were at least some scenes of him doing his like Spider-Man thing before Civil War, like him in like the crappy costume and stuff before he had any guidance whatsoever. Like I would have kind of liked to at least have a peek into that world before Tony Stark kind of took him under his wing.
Well, I think by not doing that, they make the image more powerful when he loses his suit and he's in that scrubby, crappy suit. You know, because we'd never really seen him in that before. You know, the only glimpse we saw of it was in Civil War. You know, you saw it like in the closet or wherever he was hiding it. But you never
saw a couple of scenes on YouTube that Tony showed when he was recruiting him in Civil War, just not in Homecoming.
Yeah. So I think it just made the image powerful when he had to put on that crappy suit again. And
I still remember when when like that photo leaked of that suit, and everybody was so pissed. They're like, "This Spider-Man suit looks awful. Like, what the crap are they doing? Marvel's gonna ruin Spider-Man."
Yeah,
that's what I felt when they showed his Avengers suit. I was like, "Nope, go back away, run far away, Peter."
Wait, his Avengers suit? What do you mean?
Yeah, when Tony like revealed that suit at the end.
Whatever.
With the gold on it. I was like, "Ah, no!"
No, you know what that's in reference to, right?
Yeah,
that's the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. Like, I hope he wears that in Infinity Wars.
Nah.
Yes.
I'm so happy with this costume in this movie. That's finally like, it's my favorite version of the Spidey costume. And so I was like, please no, please just stay. Like, it's one thing that I hate that like Iron Man has to have like a new suit in every movie. It's just like, why? Like, it always looks weird to me every time he pops up, and it's like, why is your suit different? And it's literally because they just want to sell a new action figure. So I was just like, But,
well, at least with Tony, though, it makes more sense because he has so many different suits. Like, you know, he makes all those. But, you know, look at like Captain America. Like, he's had a different suit in every movie that you almost look back at the first Avengers movie and it kind of looks silly at times compared to like his later ones.
Yeah, I still can't get over like this is off topic because we're talking about Captain America now, but I still can't get over like that weird helmet thing of his. It just looks, I don't know, like it's true to the comic and everything, but it just looks silly.
Yeah,
like, he just needs to take it off already.
Yeah, I think that's a hard one to pull off, and that's probably why in the later movies, a lot of the times he's not even wearing it.
Yeah. So, speaking of Captain America, real quick, how about that second end credit scene?
So beautifully meta. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, I was laughing so hard. I was like, I want to talk to you.
Yeah, it was great.
And then I love how at the very end he's like, "How many more of these we got?" Which had such a beautiful double meaning.
Yep.
Well, and then they announced today that there's going to be a lot more of those PSAs on the Blu-ray when it comes out.
That's beautiful.
I will gladly watch those.
I wonder how many they had to record.
That's another one of my favorite lines. Another one of my favorite lines in the movie when the gym teacher is watching that with him. First off, he points the wrong way.
Yeah.
He's like, and here's your gym teacher, and it's not on that side. But then he says, I'm gonna butcher it, but he says something like, and isn't this guy a war criminal now?
Yeah, he's like, I'm pretty sure this guy's a war criminal now, but whatever. Like,
yeah.
It was so good. Oh, then I love when Peter is doing like the sit-ups and they're talking about stuff, and like he kind of like loses focus and starts going like really fast. And then the gym teacher looks over and is like, "Doing good, Peter." And he looks over and like slows down on purpose. Like that was just a really good moment.
Yeah. Yeah, just the movie was full of little things like that you really kind of had to like pay attention for. But yeah, it made a world of difference though.
Oh, and I loved his accent in the elevator when he's like, you know, trying to save the day, and he's all of a sudden he's got like this like kind of deeper like Brooklyn accent almost. Like he's like, it's like, I gotcha, don't you worry, or like I can't even do it.
Yeah,
but it was so funny.
My favorite part of the elevator scene was when Karen, when he was hanging upside down right after he saves Liz, and she's like, kiss her, kiss her, Peter.
This is your chance, Peter. Kiss her.
It's beautiful.
And I was like,
well,
are they gonna do an upside down kiss again, really? And then he just falls down, and they're like, nobody even like asks or like, you know, like wonders if he's okay. They just like the teacher just yells down, "Thanks."
Are you really friends with Peter Parker?
Yeah. Oh.
Well, getting back to the costume, the other day, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 were on TV. And I was just kind of flipping back to it every once in a while because I haven't seen him in a while. But that costume, like the first Amazing Spider-Man costume, is so bad now, especially compared to this one. They got it a lot better, like the big white eyes in the second movie.
Yeah,
but having
so much better.
Oh yeah, but still, this costume's even better than that because having the animated eyes, like kind of like akin to Deadpool, I think makes a huge difference.
I'm still waiting for the first Batman movie that does that. I'll be so happy.
Which, speaking of his eyes, when he's running through those yards and he crashes in front of those two little girls in their tent, and he looks at them and he's like, "Hey," and his eye is twitching.
Yep.
And then the tent flips over. That was so cute.
I love the Ferris Bueller reference during that scene.
Oh my gosh, that was great. I loved that they were very just right on the nose about it. It was perfect.
Well, and everything I said on social media after I saw it about the movie was, if I just had to describe this movie in one word, it would just be fun. Yep. They just had such a fun time with it, and it was like the humor hit all the right marks, and they had just the right amount, and it was never like stupid, silly, like goofy humor. All the humor made sense.
Yeah, it was clever but fun humor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sony wants to go and ruin it by just making their own Venom verse.
Do you think there's any chance after the success of this movie, which I mean, I don't think anyone thought it wasn't going to be successful, but do you think there's any chance they might look at this and go, okay, maybe we're doing this wrong?
Yes, hopefully. One can only hope.
Talking about with the Venom, like gritty, dark horror thing?
Well, no, like Venom, like them going, okay, let's make this Venom movie part of the MCU.
Yeah, let's take our time. Let's introduce Eddie Brock and Venom in the MCU Spider-Verse, and then have, Venom be a villain in.
I would love to see. I would love to see Sony just totally commit and enter into a permanent partnership with Marvel, and just do everything together from this point on.
Yeah.
Because imagine not only like Spider-Man showing up in the Avengers, but maybe Spider-Man villains showing up for other people.
Well, see, and that's the thing. In my opinion, I feel like in the Marvel universe, at least from what I know of it, Spider-Man, I think, has the best variety of villains.
Totally, 100%.
Like, I think in the DC universe, I think Batman has some of the best villains, and then Spider-Man has the best in the Marvel universe. So to take those villains that have so much potential and pull them into their own thing, I just don't think that's a smart move. Such a wasted opportunity.
And if they go ahead with the Venom movie, even if it bombs and people hate it, and they learn the lesson and don't do it again, that just means that it's going to be that much longer for Venom to enter the MCU, because they're probably going to want to wait like another 5-7 years after. If that, I mean, even now it's been 10 years since Spider-Man 3. So,
well, I guess with Peter being a kid now, being 15 years old, I don't think we need the symbiote story arc to happen for a long time. I feel like it would be handled in kind of a weird way since he is so young, and that's it's a serious storyline. I don't think they need it just yet. But that doesn't mean that they should just make a Venom movie as a standalone.
Yeah, well, especially Carnage. Venom is dark in and of itself, but Carnage is really dark.
Yeah.
Serial killer who gets a symbiote suit. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to plan ahead, because I'm sure they already have the villains mapped out for the second Spider-Man solo film, and then, after that, they can possibly have Eddie Brock and introduce the symbiote in the third film again, but just not have it all in one movie, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, speaking of villains, they officially announced that the villain in Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or whatever they're going to title it, is a villain that has yet to be in any of the movies. So,
I'm so disappointed I won't like to see Green Goblin again.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Well, and it's interesting because there are a ton of very popular Spider-Man villains that we haven't seen yet, but there are also the one from the game trailer that showed up the other day. I think he'd be really cool on the big screen.
I never even heard of Mr. Negative before that trailer, so
I hadn't either.
I think he's a newer villain.
Yeah, but he looks so cool.
My fingers are crossed for Mysterio. He's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think
That would
Mysterio
be
will be
awesome.
good. I'm trying to think of the other really big ones that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I feel like they've said that Scorpion exists like in this universe, but I can't see him being a main villain. But I don't think they would cast that actor for a really small part because when he was on the boat, I'm like, oh, Nacho Breaking Bad, and then he gets knocked off right away. I'm like, okay, he's gonna come back, right? Like they wouldn't just bring him into this movie for that.
Yeah.
So, but I can't see him being like the main villain. I could see him being like one of the side villains in the next movie.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of how successful this one did, have you guys seen the opening weekend number comparisons to the other Spider-Man movies?
I have. Yep.
Yeah, didn't they say this ranked number 2? It didn't beat Spider-Man 3.
Correct, which is funny to me. But yeah, Spider-Man 3 had the best opening weekend with 151. Spider-Man Homecoming is in second with 117. This is domestic, of course. And then the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was 114, and then it jumps down to Amazing Spider-Man 2 at 91.
Well, see, you say, Trent, that you find it hard to believe that Spider-Man 3 did better, but I can't speak for everyone, but I know when that movie was coming out, it felt like me and everyone I know was very excited for it because Venom was in it.
My mind was blowing up with anticipation for that one. Just because the quality of Spider-Man 2 was so high, we all kind of assumed that it would be the same quality, and knowing that the symbiote and Venom was going to be in it, just the best Spider-Man villain, with asterisks on that, was going to be in there. So just hype levels were absolute maximum for Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I mean, but the opening weekend for Spider-Man 2 was not good. It was 88.
Yeah.
It turned around and did really good. Like it's number 2 in the overall gross. But
it's kind of weird too, considering that now, like, Spider-Man 3 was not in 3D. This had 3D and IMAX ticket sales, and it still didn't beat it. So I know that hype was there for 3, but just with the hype that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has nowadays, you would think that this movie would, blow all the other ones away.
I'm wondering if some people are a little bit, like, if we're starting to feel the Marvel / superhero in general fatigue.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, but then again, look at Guardians of the Galaxy 2, how well that did. That did really, really well. I almost wonder if Spider-Man just was hurt a little bit coming off of the tailwinds of the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Because when they announced this, so many casual people I know that like the movies were like, they're rebooting Spider-Man again. They just did that. But obviously there was a better reason for them to do it now.
Yeah, because it was 5 years between Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man, and only 3 years between Amazing Spider-Man 2 and this one.
Yeah, it all happened very quickly.
I mean, but at the same time, for the Guardians of the Galaxy, though, they are like the most non-superhero of the superhero movies. Like it feels more like Star Wars almost.
Yeah.
And so like I bet that probably has something to do with it. Also, I mean, like Guardians of the Galaxy was very much marketed and very successfully as a family movie, and Spider-Man totally could be also. I'm just wondering if the word really didn't get out.
I don't know. I still think it was that mentality of people being like, oh, another Spider-Man movie already. Like, come on.
Yeah, opening weekends can be a very fickle thing,
True.
But I think word of mouth is going to give this movie a very long set of legs, even in a busy summer.
Yeah,
well,
I think so too.
You look at quality in opening weekend versus total gross, just because I have these numbers up. Spider-Man 3 started at 151, but only went to 336, whereas Spider-Man 2 started at 88 and surpassed Spider-Man 3 at like 373. And so, yeah, like word of mouth and staying power will be it'll be interesting to see like the week 2 drop. And hopefully it's not a very big drop.
Everyone's going to stay home and watch Game of Thrones rather than go see it. So,
well, on Sunday, sure, but it's Friday.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. I think the Planet of the Apes movie is the next biggest competition for it.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like in all of the recent Marvel movies, I've enjoyed all of them. Even Doctor Strange, I wasn't crazy about it, but I still enjoyed it. This is the first one in a while where I'm like, man, I really can't wait to watch this again. I really feel like I'm going to get a totally like different experience out of it watching it the second time. Whereas like the other movies, I want to watch them again, but I'm in no rush. But this one, I'm like really anticipating for it to come out.
It's true.
Yep.
I'm really I was just so happy with, like, I was really worried about, that it was going to be too predictable or too overdone, or the comedy wasn't going to land, because Peter Parker has to be funny.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes really hard to pull off, especially his type of humor. And I still think Andrew Garfield got his humor down the best out of all three of them. But like, just like his little like one like tick moments of like, oh no, you found my greatest weakness, small knives, and things like that. Like, it's super funny. But yeah, I think this one really nailed um, the humor, the action, like the setting of like the high school and what it means to be in high school, and like trying to impress the girl,
Hmm.
and like all those like insecurities of being a teenage kid. Like, I mean, he's Spider-Man, he's a superhero, and yet he's still nervous to talk to the pretty senior girl.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just really, really, really well done.
Well, Ned has that one line, like, how does it feel to be like the most popular person in the world, but no one knows it's you? It was something like that.
Yeah.
And, for a kid to have to deal with that. Like,
So I gotta say, there were two decisions that I thought were a little bit weird. They didn't make me dislike the movie, but they were kind of my only two real negatives for the film.
what's that?
The first one was that I thought it was interesting that they chose, like, he didn't just go to any high school. He went to like some sort of like special ed high school. Like, it was like something high school of technology or something, right? Is that, did I catch that correctly?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because it seemed like everybody was very like smart, and they were, like, computer labs and academic decathlon and all that stuff. But then pairing with that, the decision to, well, because his high school didn't feel like a normal like public school, to me anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the other decision, like, to make Flash Thompson like not a jock, I thought was weird. And like, he's like this super popular kid who is obviously not as smart as Peter, because as soon as Peter shows up, like, yeah, you're back to the alternate spot. But like, so it was weird to see him bullying Peter when, like, in all respects that you could see, Peter was one upping him and everything, except for maybe income, like like family wealth, maybe. But so I don't know. I thought that was just a little bit of a kind of a weird choice. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I could see where you're coming from with that, but I don't know. It didn't really bother me. I thought it was kind of refreshing in a way, because in so many of those high school movies, it's like, oh, the bully is the jock. But it's like other kids can be bullies too. And then him bullying Peter, but you said like he never really made Peter like feel embarrassed or anything. Like Peter almost didn't care, but Flash still kept going after him. It just showed like his lack of self-confidence. Like, I don't know, I kind of like that in the character.
Yeah, I have a hard time. Like, I don't mind that like the jock wasn't the bully, but like, I have a hard time seeing that Flash Thompson becoming Venom.
Well, Eddie Brock is the main Venom. Flash Thompson becomes another Venom eventually. Right. So it just depends on how they do it in this one.
It could have been another decision they made just to get Flash around Peter more too, because like he went to Washington, like DC, with Peter, and it's like he would not have been there if he was like the dumb jock or whatever.
Yeah, but to flip that, just so I leave on a good note, I thought Michelle's character was phenomenal. Like,
yeah, she was awesome.
Zendaya did a great job. Like, her one-liners were great. Like, her randomly like flipping off the camera was amazing. Like, her being in detention just to draw pictures of people like at their lowest moments, I thought was like just amazingly like emo but hilarious at the same time.
I love it when she waved and then flipped him off.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
What did you guys think of Aunt May? Now that we have her in like her own full-blown movie, do you think she played the role well? Do you like the new take on the younger Aunt May?
I thought her final line was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What the? That was such a good like laugh moment to end the movie on. I thought she did good. I wish there would have been a little bit more of her. But the scenes that she was in, I thought she did great. You know, like them learning together how to tie a tie from YouTube, like helping him put on a suit and everything, like showing him
Yeah.
how to dance. I thought that was all very sweet.
Well, I guess age-wise, it makes more sense to have a younger Aunt May, anyways. Because like,
Yeah.
why would his mom's sister be like a really old woman and Peter's only 15?
Right.
I am glad they didn't do the Uncle Ben stuff. There was one line in the movie where Peter said like, "Oh, Aunt May has enough to worry about." I
Yeah.
do kind of wish there was at least one moment. It doesn't even have to be like a long scene or anything, just between him and May, just kind of talking about like what happened, or just even her referencing Ben, like, you know,
Yeah.
I wish like your uncle could see you now, or just something like that.
Yeah, I kept expecting there to be like a short moment, like when she tells him that she's worried about him, and then he goes into his room or something, and then she just kind of looks over at like a picture on the nightstand or something of Ben, or just
Yeah.
something, because we all know who it is, we all know what happened.
Yeah.
It would just be nice. I mean, and we definitely don't need too much like exposition about it, but just like showing his picture or anything like that, I think would have been great.
Well, and the thing is too, if Peter's 15 and he has his powers already, that means Uncle Ben had to die like fairly recently.
Right.
And then that's another thing. Everyone's pointing out, oh, it's a younger Aunt May, but that also means it's a younger Uncle Ben. And like the movie universe has never seen a younger Uncle Ben. So
Yeah.
that's why I was just expecting a little more, but obviously not the whole origin again.
That was good. I was very, very happy.
Yeah.
So, anything else you guys wanted to bring up before we bring this to a close? I think we nailed a lot of the bigger points.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good.
We haven't really talked about Iron Man and his whole like test of loyalty thing, or like his involvement really at all.
Yeah, he wasn't around as much as the trailers made him out to be.
Yeah.
So, but I think he did great, and liked that he was included. And yeah, the scene at the end, it was pretty funny with him being like, "Yep, that was a test," and then
Yeah. Oh, there was one more really, really brilliant director decision. Well, either director or actor from Tom. When he's saying like he's tired of Tony treating him like a kid, and he's literally like jumping on a bed while he says it. I was like, God, it's so perfect. Like, it was. I loved it. It was great.
no, I didn't catch that. It's a good point.
Yeah, he's jumping on the bed like a child, saying, "Why does he treat me like a kid?"
Yeah, it was. Oh, it's perfect. Like you said, there were so many of those little tiny moments. I really want to watch it again.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like the trailers showed so much of Tony Stark, but I still feel like there were plenty of moments in the movie that weren't shown in the trailers.
Yes.
But then Tony Stark wasn't in it too much. Like, I have no idea how they pulled that off.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I'm happy.
Well, there's a few scenes in the trailer that didn't make in the movie, like one of like Spider-Man swinging and Iron Man flying through downtown New York, stuff like that. So,
well, speaking of balance too, that was another thing. I felt like we got a really good mix of Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They just he was in the Spider-Man suit a lot more than I feel like he was Spider-Man more in this than he was in any of the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Alrighty. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
Nah, let's go ahead and wrap up. They have 3 good hours from us this week.
Sweet. Alrighty. Well, thanks everybody for joining us again for this special spoiler Spidey cast. Once again, drop us a comment, reach out to us on social media, and join us again on Monday for our next regular episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.